Welcome to this week's Candidate Voices with 5051 Savannah, the series that brings you 5-minute interviews with candidates for Georgia's 1st Congressional District U.S. House election 2026. We welcome any candidates running for this office who meet our mission of upholding the Constitution and ending executive overreach to participate. Each of our candidates receive the same question in advance and are allowed to prepare. Welcome to week 9 of Candidate Voices. I'm Robin from 5051 Savannah, here with Joey Palimeno. Welcome, Joey. In recent years, we've seen political disagreements sometimes spill over into violence. If you were elected, how would you respond to incidents of political violence, both in condemning it and in preventing it from happening again?
Thank you for having me. And yes, you are correct. In recent years, we've seen political disagreements cross a very, very dangerous line, spilling into intimidation, threats, and even violence. And tragically, we've seen that danger turn into even killings. Charlie Kirk was recently shot and killed while speaking at a college event. I don't agree with what much of Charlie believed in for America, but no one should lose their life over the political views. His killing was wrong, full stop, and everybody should condemn that. Not long after that, Minnesota was shaken when State Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband were murdered in their home, and Senator John Hoffman and his wife were critically injured in another targeted attack. These are not random crimes. They were acts of political violence meant to silence voices and instill fear. These tragedies are reminders that when our politics turn into a battlefield, everyone loses. Families are torn apart, communities are destabilized, and our democracy itself is weakened. If I'm elected, I'll always respond to political violence with the same clarity. It is unacceptable. Whether the victim is someone I would agree with or someone I oppose, violence has no place in politics. There will be no both sides excusing and no hedging. But words are not alone are not enough. We need to act to prevent it from happening again. That starts with responsible leadership. Too often leaders use language that dehumanize opponents or paints them as enemies of the state. That kind of rhetoric creates conditions for violence. I'll hold myself and my own party accountable, and I'll call dangerous rhetoric no matter where it comes from. We also need to strengthen security for public officials and election workers too. In Minnesota, that suspect had a list of nearly 70 people he planned to target. That is honestly chilling. And it's not just lawmakers who are at risk across the country. Poll workers, they are people who help our democracy function, that face harassment, threats, and intimidation, simply just for doing their jobs and serving our communities. If we allow that to continue, we're undermining the foundation of free and fair elections. I'll work to increase protections and stiff penalties for anyone who threatens election workers, because democracy cannot exist without them. At the same time, we must remember something fundamental. In America, we should be able to disagree about issues and still treat each other with some respect at the end of the day. We should be able to have civil debates, sometimes spirited debates about healthcare, wages, education, foreign policy, without the fear that this disagreement will turn into violence. That's a democratic tradition worth defending, and that's what I'll defend. We must also address the root causes of violence. That means confronting extremist ideologies online, working with those social media platforms to stop the spread of violent content, and investing in community programs that intervene before someone on the edge turns into violence. That also means expanding access to mental health care, because too often untreated crisis and radicalization collide with devastating consequences. And finally, we need to come together. In the wake of these killings, America doesn't need more division. It needs unity. I would convene a bipartisan summit on political violence, bringing together leaders, law enforcement, election officials, faith communities, victims' families, continue to commit to real solutions, because keeping our democracy safe cannot be a partisan issues. All those lost to political violence, they deserve so much better than just our condolences. They deserve a commitment to change. I'll fight to ensure that we will never become a country where people fear being attacked for their political beliefs or running for an election. Our disagreements should be settled at the ballot box, not with bullets. That's the only way our democracy survives. I also think the media needs to stop playing such a role in highlighting all the bad and start showing.